But I'd like to introduce Jeff Williams to you today. He's a friend. He's a confidant. He's a man that I can call morning, noon, and many times at night to ask the questions that I have. You see, he was executive director in Clark County, Ohio. And when he comes up here, many of you will say, gee, I've seen that man before. Well, if you've seen the Marriage Savers video, you've seen him on there as just a counselor. And he gives some good advice. But today he's here in person because he did such a wonderful job there in Ohio that Mike and Harriet McManus called him to be the chief operating officer for Marriage Savers. And he's a product of divorce. I hate to use that term, a product of it. He's someone that was hurt by divorce with his family, his parents. But he's in a wonderful marriage today. And he knows the right things to do, the right ways to do things. And I want to welcome him today because he and his wife Jill are also going to be the trainers on our weekend starting tonight and all day tomorrow. And you can still sign up, by the way. You still have one slot open for a church to sign up and be trained this evening. So without further ado, let me welcome Jeff Williams. Let's give him a hand.
Thanks, Bob. That's very generous and very kind. And Jill, I wonder if you would come hold these papers for me so that the wind doesn't take them away. Because while it says in your bulletin that Marriage Savers has a word, I have more than a word. First of all, congratulations, Bob, Kathy. You've done an exemplary job. It's always been a blessing to interact with you. As you can tell by Bob's comments, his heart is in this. It's been remarkably difficult work. It's work that we have done. And I urge you to support Bob and Kathy into the future with your prayers, with finances, with encouragement, with ideas, with collaboration, with everything it takes to continue to walk this out into the future. Kathy, for your faith and support. We know that behind good men are greater women. So our hat's off to you, and we appreciate you. Commendations to you, pastors. What wonderful encouragement it is to meet you and hear your enthusiasm for this, for being here today, for taking a stand, for being willing to draw a line in the sand, to raise the standard in this community. You can expect incredible results as you continue to implement this over time. You are the second city in Maryland and the 196th community in 42 states and 3 countries to take this step. Congratulations, Frederick, number 196. Mid-Carroll County Marriage Savers continues under the exemplary leadership of Bill and Ann McKenna. They are relatively your neighbors. They are poised to help. Bill had a knee replacement this week, else I believe we would see him with us today, standing. But some are not here today. Some of your colleagues are not here today. And I wonder what you think about that. And we hope that you will lead as ambassadors with a word of encouragement, inspiration, and challenge, urging them to stand with you. We suggest you hold this policy signing open and let them know that they can come and join and stand together. About 1 year ago today, it was actually September 17th, 47 clergy in Springfield, Ohio affixed their signatures to a document that you soon will also. Today, 80 signatures are on that document, representing most denominations in the county and nearly half of the clergy. Through media, word of mouth, with a spirit of ambassadors leaving the ceremony to talk to pastors, friends, community leaders, the same can happen for you, if not more. And what you're doing here today is committing to create a safety net under every marriage in your congregation and to identify, invite, and train mentor couples in good marriages, not perfect marriages. Couples from 14 congregations will come this evening. And these couples exist in every congregation, potential mentor couples, who can be trained to come alongside other couples at every phase of the marital life cycle. You are also saying to your community that you are committed to raising the standard by raising up such couples to implement this policy, to leverage your time, to leverage the ministry of your congregation. What can these mentor couples do? They can prepare engaged or seriously dating couples for a lifelong marriage. They can help to provide an opportunity to strengthen every marriage in the congregation. They can restore marriages on the brink of divorce and reconcile separated couples. They can provide education and support to step families so that they can be successful. Today, couples marrying for the second time or beyond involving children divorce not at 50%, but at 70% rate. It's the most challenging circumstance. And what can you expect in relation to other cities which have done this? 7 cities have reduced the divorce rate more than 50% in 6 years or less. Cities such as Austin and El Paso, Texas, Shreveport, Louisiana, Kansas City. But in fact, a study published in the fall of 2004 indicates the average results. It was determined that if a community would form a CMP, on average, they would see a statistically significant reduction in divorce, 2% more per year than in communities with a community marriage policy. Now, that's not much. But honestly, of those 114 cities, nearly half had no results. Why was that? They didn't walk out the implementation of the policy. But if you're a mathematician, you quickly understand that the cities that did have results had very good results to offset the zeros that were put on the board to come up with a statistically significant result. The researcher in this study said that to find any result was surprising, given the fact that most endeavors were by volunteers and not supported financially. The implication is clear, that for best results, community support and involvement to implement this policy and to financially support it is essential. That will be your challenge going into the future. It's something that can be done. It's something that Marriage Savers has confidence that Bob Dock can lead you in. But this is a participant sport, not a spectator sport. So be ready to roll up your sleeves and commit yourselves and challenge others to do so. Driving down the divorce rate is not the only significant finding in that research. Cohabitation, thought by many to be a reasonable way to test a relationship, is actually a trial divorce, not a trial marriage. Couples that live together before marriage are 50% more likely to divorce, and only 1 in 10 sustain a relationship more than 10 years. The study of community marriage policies found this extremely surprising result, that the cohabitation rate went down 13.4% in communities with marriage policy, as compared to communities without, seeing a 19% increase in cohabitation. That's a net 30% decrease in living together. That's raising the standard for marriage. Your goal of 30% reduction in 3 years is realistic. Clark County, Ohio set the ambitious goal of 50% in 3 years, but through the first 6 months of 2005 has realized a 29% decrease in divorce as compared to the average of the years 2000 to 2003. Marriage Savers, again, encourages you to be diligent in the follow-up. The mentor couple is key. Starting this evening, couples representing 14 churches will come to be trained in tools and skills to better prepare, strengthen, restore, reconcile marriages, and support step families through their challenges. And there's still time to sign up, as Bob said. Remember, when you have come for this training, or when you come, you are a potential mentor couple who will have opportunity to strengthen your own relationship and consider if you are called to the ministry indeed. Pastors, these couples don't have to have a perfect relationship. And you don't have to make the decision by inviting them that they are definitely going to serve in the ministry. They need to see what's involved. They need to have an opportunity to learn skills to strengthen their own relationship. And you need an opportunity to continue the conversation if indeed you're going to be willing to commission them and ask them to do this. I guarantee everybody will take at least one thing helpful to their own relationship. Often the reviews say, you provided tools to save our marriage. We're not sure we're ready to serve, but we've got some things to work on first. That's the beginning of raising the standard, even within the church community. What's the power of the mentor couple? They can lavish time on other couples. They have their own relationship to give. And with training, they have skills and tools, state of the art, to help other couples. Here's the 6 great goals that can be accomplished. You can prevent a bad marriage before it begins. 1 in 5 couples who go through the process of taking a marital inventory and having that reviewed with them by a mentor couple, 1 in 5 will decide not to marry. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? It's a good thing. They decide themselves. The mentor couple doesn't tell them. The pastor doesn't have to tell them. They decide by having the necessary conversations they shouldn't get married. It's a bad idea. In fact, those couples who take such inventory and go on to marry but later divorce have the same scores as couples who go through the process and decide not to marry. So you can prevent a bad marriage before it begins. You can give marriage insurance to the engaged. In one study, about 350 couples, about 50 dropped out. Of the remaining who married, who had gone through the inventory process with a mentor couple, only 3% divorced after 10 years. That's 97% success rate. That's marriage insurance. That's what you can do in your congregation to help begin reducing the rate of divorce to near zero. You can strengthen every existing marriage in the congregation and reach out to the community by doing an enrichment event that can be led by the clergy, by the couples within the congregation. This can be affordable. It can be on site. You can do this on a regular basis. Many communities have done it. In training, we can teach you how to do this. You can train couples who've been restored from marital crisis, such as addiction, adultery, and abuse. Who has a more credible story to come alongside a couple who is currently in crisis? These couples can be trained and can see an 80% effectiveness rate. As a former therapist, still holding a license in the state of Ohio, I can tell you I was not all that effective. And statistically, we aren't for a variety of reasons. Some people won't come. Some people come too late. This is a proactive way to put marriage back in the congregation, in the community, which Diane Solie, founder of Smart Marriages and the former associate director of American Association of Marriage and Family Therapy, said, this research shows what we once thought to be true, the responsible thing to do, sending couples out from our congregations to the professional community, is not entirely necessary. Is there a place? Yes. Can we collaborate and synergize our efforts? Yes. Is there more that the church can do? Absolutely. That's what this is about. Finally, you can create a step-family support group to help couples in second marriages with children and have an 80% effectiveness rate. And I skipped a reconciliation. Using a workbook series to help a couple reconcile God's way. The partner who wants to stay in the relationship can be mentored by a same-gender support partner who walks through the process with them, and that can be 50% effective in reconciling couples. Now, joining together as clergy and community leaders in Frederick and persevering with the implementation of these tools and strategies will place you, as Jesus said, as a city on a hill whose light cannot be hidden. A city on a hill for Baltimore, for Washington, D.C., for the rest of the state of Maryland. Be diligent in your efforts as you pioneer in this region. There's a lot riding on what you do, many to be inspired. One couple, one congregation at a time, you can and will create a culture for healthy marriage and perhaps affect the entire culture by your example. So as Reverend Donk said, we're on the courthouse steps, seeking effectively to decrease the business on one side of the courthouse and increase the business on the other side of the courthouse. What you do here today will be an old day for divorce and a new day for marriage in Frederick. Thank you.